Or, do you have any funds? There's so many things. And they even sell that information to other consumer organizations to, see if you're going to be interested in buying a new car. So it's they say they run it like a business. It's all coming up in my next film, Invisible Empire. Please check it out. March 15th is the release date. I appreciate the call, Alan. Let's go to Michael in Florida. Michael, you're on the line.
Hey, Jason, I got a couple things to say, and then I want to answer the question about what I think the most important story is.
Sure.
All right. Well, I just wanted to say that about what Alex said, that the government's training kids to turn against their parents. Mm-hmm. But I just wanted to say that the government might be doing that, but I'm 13, and from listening to you and Alex, I've informed my parents of what's going on and changed their vote. And my mom, she used to be like a diehard George Bush. She supported George Bush in 2000 and 2004, and now she's a fundraiser for Ron Paul. So
that is great.
I just wanted to know what you guys are doing is great.
I'll tell you this: you can still make. Hold on, Michael. I'll let you talk in a moment and answer the question about what do you think the biggest story is. But as 13 years old, you're not irrelevant. You can have an impact on your parents' lives. You're a pretty smart kid. You've come across this information. You've probably seen the documentaries. I think you called into the show last week, and that is a great thing that you can reach out to your parents. But then on a massive level, they have these national programs. Like when I was a kid, they had DARE. And dare to say no to drugs. And twice a year, some cop or some lecturer or some sheriff would come in and tell us how, if our parents seemed to have this green substance and it wasn't cigarettes, but it looked like cigarettes, they may have marijuana, and we should tell our school counselor. Or if you saw white powder anywhere in your home, you needed to tell them because it was cocaine. And they would try to get you to rat on your parents for drug use, amongst other things. And now they've taken it from drug use to the climate change hysteria and saying, oh, well, if they're not recycling or they're dumping this here or they're having fires illegally, you need to report them. And I think that's really what Alex and I harp on, is that they create this mindset, these programs throughout schools to brainwash children into ratting on their parents, number one. And then when their parents try to talk to them, say, about global warming and say, well, the science really isn't in, tell them they're wrong. Al Gore admittedly has done that. So I'm going to go back to you, Michael. Michael, what is the biggest story of 2009?
Well, I think there's a couple. And one of them, I think, is H.R. 875, which was introduced by Democrat Rosa DeLauro, and her husband, Stanley Greensberg, actually works for Monsanto, and it's the Food Modernization Act.
With Codex Alimentarius?
Well, excuse me?
With Codex Alimentarius? Is that what we're talking about here?
No, genetically modified food.
Okay, yeah, well, that's part of Codex Alimentarius. Codex Alimentarius has not been fully put into place, but anything to doing with genetically modified food and regulating what kind of vitamins and proteins we have are based under Codex. But I think I do know what you're talking about. I had a few calls over the year about this bill. Tell us about it.
It was actually introduced by Rosa DeLauro, and her husband works for Monsanto, and it says that you can't have it regulates what you can and can't have in your own family garden. So like you can't have you can only use certain fertilizer, and you can't use a lot of stuff. And it's in a movie called Food Inc. I haven't seen it yet, but I researched the bill HR 875. But I think that is one of the most important stories. Also, ClimateGate is also a big one, and the fact that Obama he ran and he won on preaching against war and against Guantanamo Bay. Now he's not going to close Guantanamo supposedly until 2011, but we know he's not going to close it at all.
Well, when he says 2011, we know that the people that are there are actually going to either stay there or go to another black site overseas, or now possibly go to Illinois, where they're trying to bring it into this country. And I thank you for the call. And that brings me to this story. Let me find it right here. But basically, they say they're going to be able to move Guantanamo Bay without any state or federal approval. Illinois prison sale may proceed without legislative approval. And this is out of Bloomberg, December 18th. Illinois Governor Pat Quinn has the authority to sell a state prison to the federal government so it can be used to hold suspected terrorists. An opinion from the state's attorney general says. Illinois Attorney General Lisa Madigan found the sale of the Thompson Correctional Center, and this is where the new Guantanamo site is going to be, can move forward without state legislative approval. Although she said such permission would be needed if the federal government decided after the sale to seek exclusive jurisdiction over the property. So again, they just do these things. They feel they are the law. We're taking your calls. It's the final Info Warrior of the year. Jaren's there doing something. I don't know what. Maybe working. Doesn't look like it. 888-201-2244 is the number. 512-646-1776 or tune in over at Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.tv.
Godspeed with devil's charm. The shit made get switchblades in every arm. And this way we ixnay on any harm. Cause snakes play and fakes lay like hidden bombs. We march in unison. The soul is truer than eternal missions with just a lifetime to do.
We are going to go continue with your calls in just a moment. Later on in the program, we're going to play this audio of Hannity calling Ron Paul supporters nuts, extremists, and saying that the military complex, the industrial military complex, because he doesn't call it correctly, the military-industrial complex, which was identified by Eisenhower in his farewell address. Truly a great warning from a man who had seen it all. General Dwight D. Eisenhower really had seen the horrors of war, the spoils of war, the big business interests that had come in. He was an insider among insiders, and for him to give that iconic speech really should tell us something. Just quite a conversation. It's about 4 minutes long, so that's coming up. I wanted to cover this as well. With all the fear-mongering about climate change, with Ted Turner discussing how if we don't do something in the next 10 years, and then he says 30 years, we're going to have 8-degree hotter weather, and we're going to be cannibals and all live in a failed state like Somalia. Now they're saying that we are turning the oceans into acid. Acid oceans, the evil twin of climate change. Far from Copenhagen's turbulent climate talks, the sea lions, harbor seals, and sea otters reposing along the shoreline and kelp forests of this protected marine area stand to gain from any global deal to cut greenhouse emissions. Oh, the harbor seals and the sea lions, we have to save them. Because we're turning the ocean into acid. I mean, come on. Look, we can pollute the ocean, folks. Global warming ain't turning it into acid. I mean, here was a headline that we missed out of the Irish Times from last week. December 21st, so I guess not really missing, seeing I only do a show once a week these days. New World Order to set agenda in climate talks. And unfortunately, they quote Chavez here, but you know, Chavez, he's another globalist, he's another dictator out there. He just happens to oppose the United States because it's not in his best benefit to join the team. They're not offering him enough. It's the same with Castro and his cronies. Cuban minister says Obama imperial and arrogant. And it kind of sucks when these guys tell the truth because that discredits a guy like Jason Bermas. Oh, you're a leftist. You like Venezuela. You love Cuba. That's what you want. You want communist and socialist regimes. No, I don't. But when they're telling the truth, like this one, Cuba accused U.S. President Barack Obama on Monday of being imperial, arrogant, and dishonest during last week's global climate conference. Yeah, that's true. He was imperial, arrogant, and really at the behest of the globalists. That's what he was there for. So New World Order set agenda in climate talks. Of course, they did. We said they were going to in the very beginning. We said this was about one world government. And then the Cuban minister saying that Obama is imperial and arrogant. All right, let's continue with the phone calls. Chuck in North Carolina. Chuck, you're on the line. Yes, sir.
Hey, JB, how you doing?
Good.
I'll get to the top story of the year. First, I was on with Alex, but held over because I love your show, too. I wanted to say an idea for 2010 is the platinum membership or something like that, where you get a little bit more for like $10 instead of $6.
You know, that's not a bad idea, Chuck, but so many people out there are so hesitant to even pay the $6 a month. I mean, that's $6 for 30 days. You're basically spending what, like let's see, it's $6, so you got 30 days in there, like 20 cents a day to watch Alex Jones live on PrisonPlanet.tv at least 2 hours a day, listen to it in the highest quality for 4 hours a day, and then once a week we put out this show. We also put out all of our films for free. As far as a platinum membership, I just don't think people would go for it or they would appreciate it. We're already working. Topless Bermas is what Jaron said, I'm pretty sure that the viewers out there don't want to see me topless. We're going to keep that one. But they saw Jones topless this year. Maybe that's the biggest story of the year. He did that one where he was just topless in the studio. That was hilarious. What a great moment from this year's InfoWars. But again, a platinum membership, there's not much more we can do. How much more can we offer? I see Aaron Dykes in here, for instance, just before Christmas for literally another 14 hours putting out 2 more Alex Jones communiques while he's going to be away with his family. And it's not just filming the stuff. You got to film the stuff. You got to light the stuff. You got to get the camera equipment in there. Then you have to edit it. There's just so much to do. So I don't know if we're going to do a platinum membership. What we're going to try to do is put out even more films, even more material, so people have the opportunity to look for themselves and choose what is most important to them, what issues they want to take on. We're going to come back to you, Chuck, on the other side. We're also going to go to Jeff, Mike, and Mark. It's the InfoWarrior with Jason Bermas. PrisonPlanet.tv, only $6 a month. InfoWars.com, free.